I will be watching that. As soon as I see Irene, I will join her. And today is the topic again. One of, I don't know. I probably every time I'm saying this is powerful topic because that's what you guys choose. Powerful topics. So self acceptance, and yeah, the first question, probably obvious one, is what is it and why is it important?
Yeah, we didn't get you, Alex. We weren't able to hear you.
Oh, really? Already? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna repeat it. I will be patient, for a while, and I'm gonna repeat it again. So my question is that the topic today is gonna be self-acceptance, and I'm curious why self-acceptance is important, and what is it really for you? What does it mean?
John.
All right, we'll do that. So yeah, I mean, I think Alex, as I was thinking about our last week's conversation about self-connection,
Yep.
I thought, well, that's great. We were talking about connecting with ourselves, but what does it mean to go deeper than that? And ultimately, what does it mean to accept ourselves? And hello, Irene.
Hi.
So we were just talking about what does self-acceptance mean to each of us, and why is it important? And I guess for me to start it off, what keeps coming to mind, and this is not about being religious, this is about kind of the teachings that actually many people follow outside of Christianity. Many people know that Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And what has always struck me is that what has always struck me is that I don't feel as though we're at that place where people actually love themselves. And if you don't love yourself, how are you showing up or accept yourself for who you are? How are you showing up in the world? How are you showing up to others, that neighbor? If I am filled with the self-hatred or the I don't even want to go that far, but just the constant questioning of my value and my worth, then how much am I going to be looking out into the world in the same way? Am I going to be using that same type of energy that's going out into the world? And I constantly think about that message, because I think our world would look very different. It would look extremely different if we did accept ourselves. And I think we would show up differently. And I hope for myself that the more self acceptance I have, and I believe for myself, this is an ongoing journey. I have not reached the final destination on this. I get better with age, you know,
Just
because
like wine.
yeah, because I remember,
You're
I
getting
remember,
you're getting softer,
I've,
of course.
I'm getting softer, but I'm also recognizing that my self-worth and my self-acceptance was based on how the outer world was responding to me. That's how I created my um, my structure of who I am. It was what I was receiving externally. And I think this is true for many people. And so I think as I've gotten older, I have discovered that that has not served me very well. And the fact of the matter is if I am the one who is kind of calling the shots, and I'm the one who sees myself in in the most wonderful way as best as I can each and every day, and believe me, each day changes. But if I show up that way, I'm showing up in the world and I'm making the change externally. It's not changing me internally. And so that's kind of my start of this. But I think and I believe that if we can accept ourselves, and that for me means everything about me. the craziness about me, which I have, the wonderful, beautiful qualities, the lightness, the loving kindness that I have, all of those parts of me, my body. I mean, I've been the kid who was heavy when they were young, would be thin, then I would get heavy again. I went through all of that, and everything was always about how the world was responding to me. And I'm no longer at that place, but what I say is it's accepting me and myself, my body, my soul, my spirit, everything about me right now today. Every day is a different day. And that's why I say it's just right here and now. So anyways, I've taken up a lot of time, but that's my kind of start of this conversation. So I'll open it up. Alice, you want to go next, and then Irene?
Well, I will. Well, John, you kind of touched on something when you said how the world was seeing you. With me, when I was thinking about this subject, I realized that the world was seeing me the way I was giving them permission to. I wasn't internally, I've always accepted the way I am, who I am. But externally, I kind of pulled that back and didn't allow the world to see who I was. So the world was just responding for me to what I was giving them. They were following the directions that I was giving them because somewhere maybe internally, I've always known who I was, but in my mind, which is not as deep as my spirit, I was looking at what I thought the world expected of me. And that's how I was reacting. So finally, like you say, with age, I decided, we only have so much time here. So how can I really show up the way I really am? And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm accepting, all the things that I thought I've looked at as negative. You know, I've always had an issue with my voice, with speaking in public, and when I do it, everybody, I don't understand what's the issue. But internally, I wasn't accepting myself. So I mean, if that's what I kept giving to the world, they accepted it. And I was really putting this stress on myself because I wasn't accepting myself. So now that's what I try to do. This is who I am. This is all that I have. You know, this is it. You have to accept this or maybe go somewhere else. I don't know. But I am truly internally accepting myself and I'm much happier. So that's my take on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So Irene.
Thanks, John, for revealing us that you are crazy, so I am not alone in this place. And well, I have a long story, but I try to a little bit cut a part of this story. I never accepted myself in my youth. This is not doesn't mean that I am so old, but I'm aging, and especially at school. And it was crazy, you know why? Because I always was one of the first of the top of evaluation, always A in your always A, and especially at university, but I wasn't never content or satisfied, never. And I want more. And more than summa cum laude, there was a professor that was teasing me and say, "What do you want more?" And I think self-love. I wanted more self-love, being satisfied, and the lack of self-acceptance and self-love had the result and great impact also in seeing which kind of possibility I had, not only in the emotional way to show up as I am, more, hilarious. I love to joke with you, and this time all together is a wonderful time to me that we can give and deliver value, as well as being between friends that has similar experience and help others with our experience too. And I wasn't so hilarious before. I was much more uh, sad and spent times in depression, anxiety, all these things. So the importance of self-acceptance in my life was really crucial, because led toward many other things and many other ways to see myself much better and show up and really live my life fully and give the same values to others. Because whenever we don't love ourselves, we are not able to love others the same way. So that's what changed in my life as soon as I started to love myself. And what is wonderful is that the more we are in this position to discover more and more about ourselves and gain more self-awareness, the more we love ourselves and we more love others, and we are able to give really great value to others and see them as precious as they are.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Irene. So, Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have lots of thoughts when I'm listening all of you. And first of all, I really like the I like those pieces which you all kind of coming together as a mosaic, because you, John, you started with that kind of part of the loop, response of the world influencing you, and you are kind of almost reacting on what you are receiving. So as a result, you are caught into that kind of trying to be what world is kind of or judge yourself based on the feedback from the world. I think I believe it's in many cases it's what people do really. And I like when Alice added another part of the loop, that actually what you give to the world, and then the world is like before you even project something or act, you already have some kind of idea what probably world really wants from me, and then you already putting kind of outside not what you really are, or some maybe like a serious filtered kind of part of you, and then the world is completing the loop, and as a result people can get into the really vicious circle, or at least they cannot be themselves for sure, because the I don't know where is it, chicken or egg, but it is a loop after all, and it's really interesting. And I heard somewhere psychologists come up with lots of stories, why people have some kind of self-doubts or not accepting themselves. And one of the classical psychology explanation is that it comes from some kind of deep trauma. And the very first one is when the child separated from mother. And probably you are familiar with that. So the theory is that when the child separated from mother, it has a huge impact. It's a first trauma, because before that, child and mother was kind of one thing. There was a no conversation, and then suddenly it's the beginning of the formation of the ego. But the fact that the child separated, it's actually trauma, and usually people are kind of making different conclusion why, I am now separate. So, and lots of different conclusions. One of the conclusions that I am not worth it, or I am not good, or I'm not good enough, or, and then the whole life based, future life based on a proving to yourself that actually you are enough. And some people have started to accumulate, some wealth, or some, career, kind of taking, certifications, and earning more and more, having, like, just in order to prove that actually I am good, and I was that. Yeah, so there are lots of interesting facts about it. I don't know which one is really kind of true, but I believe the root of the problem probably in the formation of ego, one way or another. And for myself personally, what I experienced, and sorry for long, for myself is, I believe that acceptance coming kind of as a natural step as soon as you understand that everything what you think you are, actually it's not you. I mean, then there's nothing to accept, nothing left to accept. I don't know if it makes sense. So, for example, in my case, when I started to realize that there is something which really me, and everything what is Alex, all with all that kind of attribute, it's just artificial, some kind of construct, based on certain particular circumstances, and it's not me. Then there is no struggle to accept, because that personality, whatever, the way I am, the world knows me. It's not me anyway. So nothing to defend, nothing to protect, nothing to fight about. And yeah, I'm not saying that I'm really reached that kind of super advanced level, but to accept who you are, because you are not what personality, and all that, facade kind of is all about. Guys, does it make sense? Did you even hear me? Because I'm cautious about my audio.
Yeah, we got, you were kind of going in and out, but I was able to catch. It was nice because even if when you went out, we were able to catch kind of your nugget, of wisdom. So yeah, so
Yeah.
we were, yeah. It's yeah, I follow you completely, Alex. I think I actually, this is where I kind of want to promote coaching in some way, just based on my own personal story, because honestly, it wasn't until I started delving into coaching and getting my own coach first before deciding to become a coach. That is when this shift took place in me. That's when I have to say, when I started recognizing what my true gifts are, I'm not talking about these wonderful skills that I developed over 20, 30 years. It wasn't, these, the academic education, and having great grades. It was recognizing, and I call them, they're the gifts. They're the deepest part of who I am and what I actually have been given to bring out into this world. And it really wasn't until I was getting coached around kind of the gifts and the values. We talk a lot about values in coaching. When I was able to see more of myself, when I started going there through coaching, that is when the true change happened. And honestly, that was just 2016, 2015, 2016.
Yep.
And it was because of coaching that opened my eyes. And my coach that I had at the time, and I talk a lot about affirmations, I talk about a lot about kind of these rituals that I follow. those were allowing me to connect with myself and really begin to understand who I am and not be concerned about the world around me and what I was hearing and how the world was responding to me. Because I was very much about validation. I was kind of
Yeah.
the good boy. I mean, this is a story that's been written in a billion books, right? But I absolutely was that person that every time I got the pat on the head, oh boy, John was going to, and it's actually Johnny, the little boy who would show up and I'm going to do better and I'm going to, well, at some point, you only have so much energy for that. At some point, you only have enough bandwidth to keep showing up that way. And I decided I'm not going to do it anymore. I
Yeah.
have to show up the way that I want to. And that's why I said for me, it was coaching. And for me, it was to really see who I am. And the last thing I'll add to this, which I also heard on TV again, it's this idea too that when we get on an airplane and we you hear the little speech about give the oxygen to yourself, all of these processes that I described was the moment that I was really giving myself oxygen because I am a caretaker. I am the people pleaser, at least I was. And to a certain degree, there's still a little essence of that, but I realized that I had to breathe that oxygen and I had to take that time to rejuvenate and really connect with myself. And I tell you, I believe that it has made such a difference in how I'm showing up in the world. And if people respond to it, I know that there are people who go, I can't deal with John. There's this energy, and that's okay because they're still working on their stuff, whatever may be happening. But I know that a lot of people, there are people, and we have to be prepared for it, that people may not accept that energy, may not accept that person who's showing up. And in the past, that would have devastated me. Now I see it as just a part of life, and there are others out there who I will connect with and who I will make a difference in their lives. So, but again, I wanted to give a little shout out to the coaching piece because that for me was the shift and the change in my life.
Yeah, it's interesting that acceptance to yourself brings you to maybe more acceptance of others as well, and like totally connected, interconnected kind of level. And yeah, powerful. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Alice or Irene, any Alice?
Well, when you said that there are some people in the world that might not be able to accept that, I understand that. And when we accept ourselves, we also understand that we are not meant to be accepted by everyone. There are some people that I will be the perfect fit for. There's some people you will be the perfect fit. Irene will be the perfect fit. Alex will be the perfect fit, especially when it comes to coaching. Everybody, but if we don't bring our true self and we haven't accepted ourselves, we can never offer that to those people that are waiting for us. There are really people out there waiting for us to bring what we have to them. So maybe they went through the same thing that we went through. You know, I've never had a problem with accepting my background, how I grew up, where I grew up internally. But again, it goes back to that externally, where there was a time when I would travel or go somewhere and people would ask me, where are you from? I would say, the United States. I would not say the southern state I was from because, somehow I had associated that with who and what went on in Mississippi with me. And, I had accepted that until I accepted, no, that's not me. That's just where I was planted to grow. And that's not me. And then it opened up a conversation about that. So I think when we accept ourselves internally, it opens up so many doors for things that we had created in our mind, doors that we had shut in our mind. So that's
Yeah.
my take on that.
Perfect, Alice. It's like now when you describe that case of mentioning the Mississippi. I mean, it seems like one of the I would say the ingredients of that not acceptance yourself is kind of fear. I mean, it seems like we need to protect something, or we have, yeah, obviously fear is the one of the essential ingredients, because that the fear I would say pushes us to to defend ourselves or attack someone or hide something or change, or so that like behind our actions of not accepting who we are, it's like seems like a fear. So as soon as we find a way to relax and well, there is nothing to protect, then the easiness comes. Like, well, obviously we don't need to please everyone, and whatever we do, some people do like, kind of don't care. Not don't care in a bad way, but don't care about protecting anymore. And yeah, Irene,
Irene.
give us some Italian push for our conversation, and that's probably where we're gonna wrap up.
Well, listening to you, I was thinking about this revelation that come up when we have this brainstorming all together, and I felt, wow, I'm feeling whole, complete. And many times we need to the others' acceptance, or we care about what others think about us because we don't feel whole or complete. We feel that we lack something somewhere in ourselves, and because we have a lot of idea that came up from our education, our family, our culture, and whenever we let go all these belief systems, we can just feel ourselves and see ourselves as whole and perfect, not in the sense that we don't fail, but perfect in the sense that we have all the possibilities to be what we want to be and to develop our gifts. And it is fantastic when you forget all those things and you are feeling whole, because I'm feeling that the self-love comes as a consequence. You don't even feel the effort, or I have to love myself. It's just a natural state. And this self-love radiate toward others. And in my case, coming back to what John said about the coaching, has a great impact on my clients, because they feel always that I see them as whole, perfect human beings, and I see their gifts, and this creates trust between us and create the sense, for some of them, really deep affection too. And is very powerful, because they, as soon as they can, they are free to to fly and to soar with their own wings. And I think is the best moment for myself when they leave me, not because I don't want to stay with them, but because I am seeing that they are free. They feel free to be who they want to be and to deliver their own wonderful gifts to the world. Alex, what do you think? This Italian girl triggers?
Did she say Alex or Alice?
Alex. Because he has this wonderful smile. Alex has this wonderful smile, like he is in another world now.
He's taking it all in.
Yeah, that's true. I do have smile. Sorry, I cannot deny it. That's true. Well, lots of things resonate, Irene. And you mentioned, for example, the education, and I do believe that one of the issues when we are value some skills and we are mixing in our head that one thing is getting better at something, another thing is that's who you are. I mean, mixing your abilities and skills, which of course but mixing it with the level of identity all the time in schools, unfortunately, that creates incredible pressure because in our head from childhood we are mixing two different things. I think it's very good to get better, but it's not that it will change who you really are. I mean, if we would be taught, from childhood in the schools that skills is the one thing and it's awesome, to develop them, but it's not going to change who you are. I mean, that distinction would make a huge difference. What do you think, guys?
Yes, I totally agree. I think so many times we become so intellectually intelligent that we forget who we really are, who we were created to be. If we could get that balance, that would make a world of difference. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Because people have a talents in such a kind of diverse directions of human, I would say, application. So, somehow in a school, when someone good at math or someone good, it doesn't mean that there are hundreds of other directions which people can have a gifts about. They're just right now maybe not visible, but the whole society is so kind of one-sided and judgmental, and as a result, we are all conditioned from very early childhood and judging ourselves and judging others by some strange, set of parameters. Yeah, that's.
I know.
I think it's part of the problem.
I've always been good in math. When I went to college, I took accounting. I love accounting and I'm good at it. I've never worked in it. I've never had a passion for it. I've always had a passion for helping others, for being some kind for art, for writing stories, for words. But everyone always pushed me towards accounting. And so, math, you're so good in math, go to school, you would be great in this. So that's what I did. But I've never worked in it, but maybe 2 years. I worked in human resource, which was dealing with people. So.
Yeah, wow. Very nice. Guys, so let's wrap it up. John, you are very good at summarizing the essence of our talks. So I just facing that that part to you. I mean, if someone is good at, so let's just, let
Yeah.
that person do it.
That's a lot of pressure, Alex. Well, I think the bottom line, and I think the biggest takeaway is that I think we've all shared how certainly society has created some of this conditioning, right? And how many of us have kind of followed this and bought into it. But I think the other message about this is that we don't have to, and that there is a point, that each of us, began to realize and began to move outside of that conditioning. And I think our stories show that there can be this kind of light at the end of the tunnel, and that there can be opportunity for self love and how powerful that can be. And I think, I ultimately leave it with this, that imagine if more people in the world were able to love themselves and accept themselves for who they are, regardless of education or whatever the case may be. Imagine what this world would be like. And like you said, Alex, so much of this is stemmed in fear and possible trauma. If we were able to have a world where people can acknowledge that that's part of who they are, but if they are able to accept who they are, I think things would look very different. And I'm hopeful, because I think for me and for many of us, we've gone into an area of work that allows us to help others kind of transform and connect to who they are, and to begin to truly accept the gifts and the amazing whole beings that they are. And so I just, again, I think it could be really life-changing personally, but also it could be something that can change the world as well.
Nice. Nice. Which is kind of the same thing. True. Thank you very much, John. And guys, pleasure talking with you. So we'll continue next week.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot.
Thank you, everybody.